Welcome to the Food and Drink Business Podcast, live stream of interviews being conducted from the Food Pro 2023 exhibition floor. And they're sponsored by TriMat Systems. Kim Berry back in the hot seat for the afternoon.
The afternoon session.
Yeah, you've done pretty well. You've been out there running around, talking to people, gathering
I've been
info.
Meeting and greeting, and that's how we have our guest that's just coming up.
Okay, do tell.
Welcome to Ian Henderson. He's the founder of Australian Vinegar. And I was walking around looking at various stands, and I saw Ian, and I said, "Oh, so what do you do?" he's like, "Oh, my name's Ian, and I work at Australian Vinegar." And what do you make?
I think I said, "You'll never guess what we make."
Yeah,
that's right.
That's exactly what. Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
I was like, I have no idea. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the company, just so people have some context.
I run a company called Australian Vinegar, and you'll never guess what we make.
Yeah.
No, we make vinegar, and we do it here in Australia. It's a niche industry. It's not the largest sector of the food industry, but a critically important one. Pretty much anything that's in a preserve, a jar, or anything that has shelf life will have some sort of acid in it. That's part of the food stability. And so most of our competitors in the market are European, Italian, German, French, Spanish producer vinegar.
Okay.
So we're making, and I believe, equally good quality product, but doing it here in Australia using Australian products, supporting Australian farmers, and getting that really high Australian content on the labels that the consumers are looking for.
Well, which is so important, particularly during and since COVID, that wanting Australian made and supporting local producers and suppliers is now just top line for consumers, isn't it?
And we actually manufacture the product here. We don't just import it and pack it in Australia.
Yeah.
But right from base materials, right from apples and grapes.
Right.
We manufacture vinegar here in
And
Australia.
so how many tons are you producing of vinegar a year? Like, what would it be? Like,
Look, there's many ways to measure it. Our standard unit of measure these days in production is the ton. We used to talk in the litre or the bottle. These days we talk about how many tons today we did.
The heritage days. It's so quaint.
It was, look, I started 18 years ago. I got a phone call from a friend who was starting a food import business near the US. And I'm a university qualified winemaker.
Right.
I graduated top of my class from winemaking, and now I make vinegar for a living.
That's a perfectly normal trajectory.
Well, there's no rush I'm going to learn it. Like, winemaking is the closest thing I could learn in Australia.
Right.
I learned my vinegar making, my actual formal training was from Europe. I was extremely lucky to win a Winston Churchill Memorial Trust Fellowship to go and study vinegar making in Europe. So that got me enough money and time to do 8 weeks traveling through Europe. I did a course on vinegar making in Austria. I got the chance to work in the big Italian plants. I got to work in the Spanish vinegar plants. I've got to spend a fair bit of time making some apple cider in France, and came back with technical knowledge, but also the appreciation that vinegar is an industry.
Yes.
And so that was 18 years ago. And so we started, it took me 2 years to make my first batch of vinegar. I think after 2 years, I'd made about 100 litres.
Right.
It takes 100 litres to fill the filter these days. So we grew relatively quickly, but it's easy to double 100 to 200.
Right.
It's a lot harder to double the millions we do today to multiple millions.
Yeah.
But yes, we measure our production in millions of litres a year.
So where are you set up?
We're in a little town called Stanthorpe, which is about 3 hours drive west of Brisbane.
Right.
Up in the mountains, up in the apple growing region of the Granite Belt.
So beautiful.
Look, it's cold. It snows most years where we are.
It's my kind of weather.
Wine, apples, grapes, fruit and veg. It's a food bowl region.
Right.
We like operating there because we don't want to be in the capital city. We just don't want to live in the capital city. My wife and I want to raise our children in the country.
Yep.
Logistically, it's on the junction of the three main highways that service the east coast of Australia. So the freight logistics works well. Cost of land. We have a really large footprint business. So I've got 8,000 square metres of concrete.
Oof.
A couple of acres of concrete. I couldn't possibly afford to buy that block of land in Moorabbin or Bankstown or Rockley or those industrial areas. The countryside, the air is clean, the cost of doing business is good, and all of my staff own a house. You can own a home in Stanthorpe that you would love to live in for less than the deposit of a house in Sydney or Melbourne. And so that allows us to attract really great graduates to come and work for us. The cost of living, own a home thing is a wonderful thing for us. So we're fermentation experts. So we'll make vinegar. We also do a lot of kombucha. So
do you make kombucha for other, like you a contract manufacturer?
Yeah, for other people. Yeah. So we don't have our own kombucha brand. So the reason we're here today is we are industrial food manufacturers doing it at the highest level with all of the national and international accreditation and certifications. We deliver on time, perfect product where the paperwork is as good as the product that comes with it. And so that's the thing that those large scale industrial food manufacturers and the grocery stores and those customers want to deal with. And so these are my people.
Yeah, these are your people.
These are my people.
It's been a long 6 years in the wilderness of waiting for another food pro.
Look, we just walked in this morning, and you look at the big machines going, and you walk around, and there's people selling lab equipment and cleaning chemicals, and just go, this is my people.
Yeah, I know. It's really you suddenly understand why these sorts of shows are actually really important. It's not obviously it's for sales and making new relationships, but it's also that it is that sense of being a part of a sector and an industry, and that I think, as our little monkey brains need that. I think
I'd have to say, again, I said this is my food people. This is the food manufacturers of Australia.
Yeah,
I was incredibly proud, and my company, we were incredibly proud to be a part of the Australian food industry going through COVID, when people were filling up their trolleys with rice and pasta and mince and passata and anything that had shelf life, and a lot of that stuff has vinegar in it. The Australian food industry rallied to the challenge and found a way. We solved the logistics problems. Whilst you didn't have rice or pasta for a little while, and it was rationed, nobody didn't have food in Australia.
Yeah.
The food supply chain didn't fail, and we should be incredibly proud of that. We and my company, we benefited from that, but we were able to really quickly replace imported product. We were taking phone calls. We're taking phone calls from desperate food manufacturers who go, I've got vinegar in my food, I can't get it, it's stuck on a wharf in Singapore, or we've run out because there's been a surge in supply and I can't make my chutney, my sauce, my preserve, or whatever. And we could get it to them in a couple of days. And we scrambled. During COVID, my staff, we were working 3 shifts. We're normally a 7 till 4 operation. We had 3 shifts of people. We're doing the social distancing in the workplace. We had people working off-site. We pivoted to remote working. And we were turning out 4 or 5 times our normal capacity to meet the demand that people needed to get their food on the shelf. And it was a really great community. We were doing we were all doing the Zoom meetings constantly and talking about how we're all going. And the support that the food industry and the packaging industry supported to each other, everyone's giving lots of credit. Everyone's solving problems. Everyone's getting you replacements or alternatives or new things when we needed it. And just to keep Australians fed. We should be really proud of that as an industry.
I think so, absolutely. Tell me, when the kombucha, it's not a fad, obviously, but when kombucha really took off,
movement is the word you're looking for.
The kombucha movement. Oh, yeah, well, I'm leaving that well alone. But when that took off, what happened? Did you just see this? Did you see it coming, or was it just suddenly like, what is happening?
We run an active R&D program. We have an R&D manager. We spend a lot of time R&D into markets and trends and consumer stuff, and we also spend a lot of time on fermentation innovation. We're doing a lot of R&D work at the moment in food waste recovery, using the peels and juices and things to try and make either more food or agricultural or industrial products out of it. So using our fermentation superpowers to curb food waste. We have a very strong environmental policy, and we want to get to carbon zero, but we think we can do better than carbon zero. We think we can actually recover waste and not just reduce waste to zero, but take our waste and turn it back into
a product,
into be waste positive, not waste negative.
Yeah, wow.
So we work with some quite large companies doing innovative R&D, and we partner with the University of Queensland for a lot of that stuff as well.
Right.
So we've created some really innovative products.
Yeah.
but that market research stuff in consumer, we saw it coming.
Right.
It followed fairly naturally on from the healthy drinking apple cider vinegar industry,
Okay.
which boomed again during COVID, that respiratory health thing that
Right.
people latched onto that.
Yeah. I tried that whole start your day with the tablespoon of vinegar.
You must
Oh, no,
absolutely
I was
must
diluting it, but
dilute it with water. Soda water is a really great way to dilute it.
okay.
But
Like a seltzer then, I guess.
we don't like people who shot it
No.
straight. It's
Burn
actually
your esophagus.
no, it's actually really bad for the enamel in your teeth. So you
Oh.
shouldn't be doing that. So the dentists don't like you shotting it, but if you dilute it down, it's perfectly safe.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so you could see it coming. You could see this
we definitely see it coming, and we are working on the new things coming. So fermented, it's fermentation is what's happening at the moment. So all of those, they're not artificial meats. These are the manufactured meats.
Yep.
They are all carb to protein fermentation. This is fermentation done in reasonably similar equipment to what we have, using yeast and bacteria in order to manufacture this food. Then there's the kefirs and all of the other really interesting beverages. But remember, salami is a fermented product. Yeast is cheese is a fermented product. Yogurt's a fermented product. The Yakults and all those things, they're all fermented products. So fermented foods as a gut health, probiotic, better alternative to sweetened soft drinks and things is very much on trend. And that's a superpower, is fermentation.
Yeah. I loved what you said when I came around and was talking to you at your stand, and you said fermentation is not spoilage, it's a process.
I still fight people who say, isn't vinegar just off wine?
Yeah.
To which I'll go, yes, it's spoiled wine. In the same way that salami is spoiled meat, yogurt is spoiled cream, cheese is spoiled milk. They're not, and no winemaker makes wine by neglecting and spoiling grapes. They deliberately and purposely use yeast and bacteria to ferment sugary grape juice into alcoholic wine.
Yeah.
And it's clean, it's controlled, and it's very carefully done with the process of maximizing flavor and color and enjoyment of the product. And we do the same thing. We do not neglect wine.
Yeah.
We deliberately and purposely manufacture it into a new product.
Yeah. It's great.
I still have people who laugh at me and go, it's soft wine, but it's not.
No. We have to wrap it up. We're
definitely talk all day.
You're obviously going to have to come. We're going to have to do a proper grant. We're going to have to do a proper, well, not a proper, but what do we call it? A regular.
Yeah, we'll
Food
have to
and
do
drink business
we'll have to do an
podcast.
FTB episode.
Talking about fermentation, and
Okay,
I'm very interested in that work that you're doing with food waste and what's happening in that area. I think that's fascinating. So, Ian, thank you so much for joining us. I hope the rest of the show is a huge success for you. And yes, we will be in touch, and everyone listening and watching this needs to then keep their eye out, because we'll do a proper episode further down the track.
We'll do a follow-up episode.
And everyone needs to eat more vinegar. I have children at school with issues.
Love it. Yeah, please help me.
Please.
They're so expensive.
Oh,
I know
dear.
one of mine's gone to the snow this week on a school snow trip, and let me just tell you, it's just like, how much change do you need to take? What?
Yes.
Why
Children.
is this costing so much money?
Children, good idea at the time.
Good idea.
We need to trademark that.
Yeah.
But for now, thanks, Ian. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks. Kim.
Thanks for everyone who tuned into this food and drink business interview that was conducted live from the exhibition floor at Food Pro 2023. We'll be back shortly with another informative discussion, also sponsored by TriMat Systems, who've asked me to say, are you looking to reduce labour processes, resulting in a boost in your profits? Aren't we all? TriMat Systems offer automation solutions that will take your productivity to the next level. Contact them today at trimat.com.